Well, Ross, thanks for joining us. How would you describe that performance?
Not very good. What I said it to you last week, I think, Dave. What frustrates us, is that I find, and our form really suggests it, or our wins and our losses reflect the fact that I feel we are very, very good and very comfortable and win games of football. Or when we're below par, we don't do enough to go and get something out of the game. So we knew it was going to be tough conditions here today. We knew that, albeit that Bolton have had a tough start to the season, that they've got some very good players. So you have to respect the situation and the opposition that you come up against. But we knew what our game plan needed to look like, and I don't think we did enough of the League Two side of things, if for the want of a better phrase, than in order to get something from the game, I suppose. And that's frustrating because, like I say, we spent a lot of time talking about it this week, that pitches are getting tough. It's not always going to be about playing good football. We've got to stick in there and be hard to play against. And I don't think we did that well enough today.
The goals came in quick succession. I imagine you're very disappointed with both.
Well, what I'm disappointed of first of all, Dave, is not just both goals and the way that they came about. The fact that they did come in two goals in quick succession. And I think that, correct me, I might be slightly off, but I think if we look at Morecambe away, similar pattern, be the better team in the first half. We wasn't today, but we were. 2 quick goals in the second half. Gives you a mountain to climb away from home. Cambridge, very similar. Important stages of the game, we need to manage them better. And we're always going to concede goals. Every team in the league concedes goals. It's how you react off the back of that. And I think, excuse me, that when we kicked off, it sort of showed the mindset of where we were, that we've just gone 1-0 down. It's a time to be resilient and all the things that we discussed at half-time. And then all of a sudden, from our kick-off, we're kicking the ball from the edge of our box under a little bit of pressure. And I think we just need to be a little bit more acceptant that at times you're not going to be able to play and be, and look like a great player all the time. The level is the way that it is, and like I say, the surface is the way that they are. And there's going to be times in games, more often than not, certainly, with the weather that we've got at the moment, where the nitty-gritty is going to be the bit that keeps you in the game.
Are your side winning enough battles, especially individual battles in midfield?
Today, collectively, we didn't win enough battles. I would say that I wouldn't have said that we lost the game in midfield today. I would say that the 2 goals, correct me if I'm wrong, certainly the first one comes from the wide area, and we don't defend that well enough. We knew that, or we felt we knew what Bolton were going to throw at us in those wide scenarios, and we needed to keep them one side and defend crosses well and stop balls coming into our box and be disciplined when we mark. So I think the answer to your question is we didn't win enough of those battles today. I don't know if in midfield was exactly one. That's not me dismissing your question by any means.
How much are you missing the superstar DJ, your leading marksman, Danny Johnson?
Very much so. I take nothing away from Ruel, but Danny's in a different time. He's in a different place in terms of the goals that he's been getting us. And I think people probably need to understand and respect that it's not just about when Danny Johnson puts the ball in the net. It's about Danny Johnson occupying centre halves. It's about him being physically capable of running channels, of keeping balls alive for us. And that was what we talked about at half-time today. You can talk about the personnel, but we need to get the ball into an area of the pitch where we can get the opposition under a little bit of pressure. And I don't think we did that part of the game. We call it game management, or, let's say, for I've already said to you there, managing certain elements of the game where we've got a team under a certain bit of pressure. We started the second half bright, front foot, a couple of snapshots, could have made better decisions, and then took our foot off the gas, and it felt like it wasn't enough to keep going with that disciplined performance rather than the all singing, all dancing one.
But you strengthened the squad with a defender coming in.
Yes, and we're delighted with that. I think we've been delighted with the 3 signings that we've brought in so far. Obviously, it's been tough for Nick, but I think Joby and Craig have had good seasons so far. But I think we'll see Nick in and around the team more often. We've shown our intent by getting him on the pitch when we have done. Kempy's obviously had a bit of exposure today, but it was a tough game where we needed to to go about it in a bit of a different direction in terms of the way that we approach the second half. So yeah, delighted to have Adam. Brings us a wealth of experience. He brings us quality in terms of where and what he's coming from, and we hope that he comes into a team ready to bounce back again on Tuesday.
And where is he in terms of match fitness?
Well, he's behind, but I don't know if you sign too many in this window that are not. If you cast your mind back to Danny coming in last year, to Cisse coming in last year, and Lawrence Vigouroux, none of them were really playing football. Danny was probably the one that was getting more minutes under his belt at the time. So, not ideal, but it's the January window, and I think you'd have to pay a lot of money for someone who'd been playing minutes at the moment.
And how far away is Dan Johnson to being back involved?
He's he's done some work today. Well, he's done some work today. He has done some work today on the bikes at the training ground, and that's all he's been able to do. He had an injection this week to see if that was going to settle down the area that had been damaged. We hope to see him out running early part of this week, and I suppose it is then about the reaction or the type of thing that comes back out of Danny doing the work that he does. So I've been probably a bit grey with you, Dave, but it is grey. It's a grey injury. We can't really determine how quickly Dan's going to be back until we see him push himself at each level and the reaction that he gets from that.
And is that done now in terms of players coming in?
We've had discussions last night. Everybody knows how proactive our board are, and myself, Danny, Matt, Glyn, Martin, Matt, Nigel and Kent all had a regular transfer committee call last night where we discussed any further or any more potential players that we could bring in. It's obviously getting closer to the closing of the window, but we'll be doing as much as we can to see if we can strengthen the squad in the next couple of days.
And finding any players that might be going out?
Well, I think I've tried to be honest all the way through and said that there were, and I think the plans were that there would be. I think what we're seeing now is the vulnerability of the level below us. Obviously, not too many league clubs have come in for any of our players that are not in the squad, or come in to try to buy the ones that potentially might be. So that I think we're comfortable with. I think the flip side of that is, like say, any potential loans or lads going out into the National League. It's obviously in a very vulnerable state at the moment, so that might determine whether people do or don't. But that will remain to be seen, and hopefully there's a little bit more security for the National League that might mean that some people can go and get minutes.